Welcome back to the Birdhouse Dynasty show, and tonight we've got some great action for you. Start with, we've got the Stefon Diggs news, we've got some trades, and then we've got my third and fourth round rookie tiers. So let's get right going with the Stefon Diggs news. If you haven't heard, Stefon Diggs was traded for a second round pick. The Texans got Diggs as well as a fifth and sixth rounder from the Bills. That second rounder from the Texans is for the 2025 season. Now, let's see. A lot of us early on felt maybe right after the deal, oh, good for Diggs and bad for the Bills. But after I had some time to think about it, I don't know that Stefon Diggs actually is really gaining any value. I mean, how many times has a team had three 1,000-yard receivers? Well, looked it up, and it's five. 5 times in the history of the NFL has a team had three 1,000-yard receivers. So unless you think it's going to be an extreme outlier of a season for C.J. Stroud, I would highly bet against all three of the now Texan stud receivers, so to speak. It's highly doubtful that all three actually get to 1,000 yards. So I don't know how much I really like it for Diggs. I mean, is he really going to produce better than what he did last season? He might produce better than what he did on the back half of last season, but if you combine the season as a whole, I don't know that his numbers get any better. So for Diggs, I don't know that it's a bump at all. You might be able to trade him now because he's in the news, so might be a small window here for about a week where you can try and deal him. As far as Tank and Nico Collins go, well, their value obviously takes a little bit of a dip. And then for C.J. Stroud, it is good. All I see there is it actually is validating his already elevated level of value for this offseason. So moving over to the Buffalo side, I don't think it hurts Josh Allen much. The Bills are definitely going to go out and grab at least one or two receivers in the upcoming draft. All that it does is really excite things for maybe the later half of the first round, meaning that our late rookie picks actually might take a bump. Late rookie picks in the first round, that is. So picks like 109, 110, 111, those might take a little bit of a bump right now. So they might be tougher to acquire in your leagues. As far as the rest of the Bills go, I guess Khalil Shakir as well as Curtis Samuel, they both get a little bit of a bump. Did have a trade that happened pretty much right after the actual trade in the NFL. We had, in one of my bigger leagues, a 16-team Superflex tight end premium start 10 league, so that's 16 teams start 10. We had Curtis Samuel going from don't matter to V. Bollinger. So he gets Curtis Samuel, and all he had to give up was a 214. Now, doesn't seem like maybe a great deal on the surface. You know, Samuel's getting older, but he did come into the league pretty young, so he's still got a few years left on the bone. And I'd say for the 214 in a 16-team start 10, this is worth it probably. I kind of lean that side actually because Curtis Samuel's going to be a every week starter probably in this league. I mean, with start 10, you're talking 160 players deep. When you get into the flex positions, somebody like Curtis Samuel, as long as he's out there on the field the majority of the time for the Bills, I think he's going to be a weekly starter in a league like this. So what kind of rookie would you get at the 214? Well, that's what we'll be getting into with my third and fourth round tiers later on. The 214 in a 16-team league would be the 30th pick overall. So in a 12-teamer, you're looking at what would be there around the 306. So as you'll see, that's probably about equal value, I think. So if he was looking for a starter, V. Bollinger definitely pulled it off. I know I definitely wouldn't mind having Curtis Samuel on my roster right now. So moving along, as far as the Bills go, like I said, Josh Allen, he should be fine. They should be getting probably a receiver at the end of the first, and I kind of like either Brian Thomas, Xavier Worthy, or A.D. Mitchell as one of those candidates, maybe Ladd McConkey. So, as we were in the previous video talking about the first and second round picks, I kind of broke them down from a macro perspective for y'all. So we have the 109 as the first big, the 101 to 109 was the big elite tier at the beginning. Now they can be broken down into smaller tiers within that, but I see those as the elite prospects in this draft. After that, you take the 110 down to like the 204 to form the second tier, and then from the 205 to the 212 was that last tier. And in that last tier, we had 4 running backs: Trey Benson, Jonathan Brooks, Braylon Allen, and Blake Corum. Then we had 4 receivers going: Roman Wilson, Jalen Polk, Jalen McMillan, and Xavier Legette. So we start up at the 301 for the beginning of our next tier, and that one comes down to the 306. So at the beginning of it, again, these players you could mix and match however you want within this tier. But I started off with J.T. Sanders, the lone other tight end prospect I have in these rounds. So we just have Brock Bowers and then J.T. Sanders in this draft if you're looking tight end. J.T. Sanders out of Texas, very athletic, sort of maybe an Evan Engram type player is what I see from Sanders is what you get. At the 302, we have Jalen Wright, the running back out of Tennessee. 303 is Marshawn Lloyd, running back out of USC. And at 304, Ricky Pearsall, the wide receiver from Florida. 305, Spencer Rattler, quarterback out of South Carolina. And at 306, we have Audric Estime, the running back for the Fighting Irish, Notre Dame. And so if we look at this tier here, we have 3 running backs that any 3 of these could pop and give you some RB1 weeks in the right situations this upcoming season. Not saying any of them are going to finish in the RB1 conversation overall, but you never know with injuries and the right playing situation. These guys all could pop off. Again, we had J.T. Sanders at the beginning. Ricky Pearsall seems to have the talent and blocking ability to be able to be a starter in the NFL for you. And Spencer Rattler has really jumped up off the boards. He had a great Senior Bowl, and his combine didn't hurt him at all. And so he's moved up to the conversation at the beginning of the second round of the NFL draft, meaning that whoever would draft him, if you draft him that high, well, he's looking to get some starts possibly this upcoming season. So he has definitely separated himself from, we have the big 6 at quarterback, and then there's Rattler, and then there's the rest of everybody at quarterback is how I look at it. All right, so after that tier, we have picks 307 through 311, and in that tier, I've got 5 wide receivers. These wide receivers are guys that I see have good talent and the very good possibility to be wide receiver 3 or 4s on their team, at least to start their career. And with that, we have Tez Walker at 307 out of North Carolina. We have Brendan Rice out of USC at 308. Malachi Corley at 309. Johnny Wilson from FSU at 310, and Luke McCaffrey out of Rice at the 311. Now, all of these guys are wide receivers, like I said, and they do have good ability. We've got a couple here with some good pedigree in Brendan Rice. Yes, that Mr. Jerry Rice's child. And we also have Luke McCaffrey here, son of Ed McCaffrey and brother to the one and only CMC. And so we've got some interesting talent here. I do like any of these guys to pop off and have good rookie seasons right away, but they all also could be just steady veterans. Again, though, this draft is so deep at the wide receiver position. You know how most years 3rd and 4th rounders are just dart throws. I think this draft is 3 rounds deep in excellent talent. So those 3rd rounders just don't go throwing them away right now. All right. After McCaffrey, then I've got basically just the rest of the guys. Starting at the 312 on down through the fourth round, we've got Ray Davis, running back out of Kentucky, Dylan Johnson, running back out of Washington, Jordan Travis, quarterback from FSU, Joe Milton, quarterback from Tennessee, Will Shipley, running back from Clemson, Javad Baker, wide receiver out of UCF I like a lot, Jermaine Burton out of Alabama at wide receiver, Bucky Irving, running back from Oregon, Isaac Guerendo, running back / wide receiver out of Louisville. He, by the way, happened to run the fastest 40 time for any running back at the draft. Now, he played some wide receiver at Wisconsin, ended up as a graduate transfer from Louisville, and this guy's got some speed and versatility. I like him to possibly get into like an Antonio Gibson type role. That's the kind of build he has, maybe more like Curtis Samuel. So we'll see what team drafts Guerendo. He's a very interesting prospect later down in your draft. After him, I had Isaiah Davis out of, I didn't write it down here, one of the small schools in the Dakotas. Cody Schrader out of Missouri at running back, Kendall Milton from Georgia at running back, and of course Frank Gore's kid, Frank Gore Jr. coming in. He is not 35 years old though already, mind you. He is much younger, but I wouldn't doubt he gets some playing time right away. He could be a banger between tackles on first and second down for a bunch of teams in the NFL. We'll see where Mr. Gore ends up. Also, I wanted to mention Malik Washington, wide receiver, and he is only about 5'7", 5'8", but he has got some skills. Now, I didn't slide Jacob Cowing into my rankings, but I definitely just forgot about him. And let me tell you, you do not want to forget about him. If there's anybody that I see a little Tank Dell in, it would be Jacob Cowing. He spent a couple of years at, I believe it was UTEP, and he blew up there, transferred to Arizona for his last couple seasons, and just dominated. He is small in stature, but if you watch some highlights, you can see how this kid is just dynamite. All right, so that would be my tiers for you that I've got in the third and fourth rounds. Please leave a comment about any of the prospects that I have ranked either tonight or a couple nights ago. I want to hear your thoughts. If you want to hear more specifically about one or two of these individuals, let me know as well. I'm going to be doing some more individualized prospect evaluations coming up soon. And don't forget, as I did mention a couple nights ago, next video is going to be on wide receiver and quarterback stacks. We're going to rank them up for you, see what you can do to go out and acquire some maybe. But with that, I'm going to close out the night. Don't forget to check me out on Twitter at clemke_007FF. And